Back in 2021, shortly after the release of Shin Megami Tensei V, I did a video ranking all of the new demons in that game, minus a few of the more spoilery ones, which I discussed in a later video. Not only did that video end up doing pretty well, but it encouraged me to rank other Megami Tensei stuff as well, from the guest demons of SMT4 to the personas of a fan-created universe. So, naturally, with Shin Megami Tensei Vengeance out, I wanted to revisit this realm of SMT and go over some of the newly designed Doi demons. As always, this is purely my subjective opinion, and if almost every other ranking video I've ever done is any indication, I may say something bad about your personal favorite. Like before, I am going to be leaving out some of the more spoilery new demons, and I'm not going to be going into any of the story details, but just to be on the safe side, consider this your spoiler warning. And speaking of spoilers, I'm just gonna throw out, I really think Doi did a good job with this game. Like, I think this might collectively be the best roster he's done so far. Alright, let's get started. And that means taking a look at Nahobeeho, which is the Jack Frost variant of our protagonist, the Nahobeeho. This is kind of funny to me because I started the original SMT5 video with Doi's redesigned Frost, and look, let's not act like we don't know what ranking I'm gonna give him. I've gone on record saying that if there's a new Jack Frost, especially one based on a protagonist, yeah, that is like an automatic S-rank demon for me. I really can't think of any situation where that's not gonna be the case. Hey there, Future John here, which is, I guess still past John for all of you. So, I wasn't originally going to cover Cherub because it's not really a new demon, but Doi did do new artwork for it based on the Kaneko design, and I did rank Doi's version of Jack Frost in the original video, so I guess it seems fair. Cherub is fine. I like the 4 heads. I think that's a really nice touch, ties into the mythology. I can dig that. I know I've said this about other similar figures. I'm not particularly a big fan of the mechanical look here, at least for this specific figure. Overall, Cherub just isn't a demon I have any major opinions on, Doi art or otherwise. It's just gonna be a C tier for me. It's really not anything special. Next up is Glasya-Labolas, who is one of the 72 demons of the Ars Goetia. I'm a huge fan of this specific branch of demonology. I've talked about it in my Demons I Want to See in Megami Tensei and Neglected Megami Tensei Demons videos. I think Doi did a really awesome job with this one. It's a terrifying looking monster, but I love that you can flip the face upside down to capture the wisdom of this figure. I think it works really well, and it's a solid design, and yeah, it's gonna be an A rank for me. I can dig this one. And I'm just going to go ahead and get all 4 members of the Kadishtu out of the way now, so we'll be looking at these 4 leading ladies, starting with Lilith, which is admittedly a tough one for me. See, Lilith is already one of my favorite demons of all time. Like, I even gave her creepy owl form in SMT4 an S rank. I love Lilith, which is why it's really hard for me to say that I don't love this. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's fine. I don't hate it or anything. She really reminds me of that one JoJo's villain. I think with the bias of comparing this Lilith to previous designs, I would give her a C, but I want to try and be a little bit fairer and look at this design just by itself, and in that regard, I can probably bump that up to a B. Then there's Naamah, who is also fine. Nothing about this design really does a whole lot for me. I do like the asymmetry of her arms and legs with like the fishnets and stuff. Naamah reminds me a lot of what I said about Nua in the original SMT5. Like, Doi tried so hard to make her seem sexy that she kind of just comes across as goofy to me. But I do acknowledge that at least fits the mythology of this figure a lot better. Like, it makes sense, so I'm not holding that against her. Like I said, she's fine. This is another one I was kind of debating going with a C, but she really likes to show off her butt, so I'm gonna give her a B. B for butt. Eisheth is probably the weakest of the 4 in my eyes. I can't really think of anything particularly unique or noteworthy about her that one of the other Kadishtu doesn't do better. Again, don't dislike anything about her, but she's just not that memorable for me. I know Doi has said this was a trickier one for him because there's really not much information on what Eisheth is supposed to look like, so I do want to cut her and him some slack. This is just going to be a C for me. I'm not going to bump this one up. I really don't have much else to say. And lastly, there's Agrat, who is probably the strongest of the four in my eyes. Though I will confess, I think that witch hat is doing a lot of the heavy lifting here. It's probably my favorite feature with this demon. But a few other things stand out too. She's fun, she's kind of kooky. I'll admit her unique attack animation just makes me laugh because I just picture her ordering a sandwich at Subway, like, give me lettuce, tomato, extra pickles. And I like this one enough that I'm gonna give her a B rank. This is a pretty fun design and demon. So for those keeping score at home, my ranking of the Kadishtu from best to worst is Agrat, Lilith, Naamah, and Eisheth. And I want to appreciate all of you that are still here, because if I've learned anything from doing these videos, it's that people do not like it when I dare to have any criticisms of the waifu demons. Which means I may as well get Konohana Sakuya out of the way, but first, a bit of backstory. One of the most controversial rankings I've ever made on this channel was daring to give Artemis from the original SMT5 an F rank. Now, in my defense, I probably would have let her squeak by with a D if she hadn't also been paid DLC at the time. But the truth is, I genuinely dislike that demon. Unlike Artemis though, I actually do like Konohana Sakuya, and I would love to give her an A rank, but in the interest of fairness, her also being paid DLC means I am gonna knock her down a peg, and she's just gonna get a B+. And that brings us to Amabie. Now, this demon is very interesting to me, because Doi actually revealed this design before the first Shin Megami Tensei V even came out. It was kind of a meme in Japan for artists to draw this figure to help bring an end to the pandemic, and Doi made his own contribution by drawing Amabie, and honestly, I love it. This goofy little mermaid yokai is absolutely perfect. It works for the figure, it fits in well with the franchise, and there's a fun backstory behind it. If you've watched any of my Myths for Megaten videos, you know this is exactly the type of figure that I love to see. I have nothing bad to say about Amabie at all. This is an S-rank demon. Speaking of water figures that are just friend-shaped little friends, Nyami Nyami. Now, this is an important and powerful river being that watches over the Zambezi River, which flows through many African countries. He's a half-fish, half-snake dragon thing. And Doi's design is both unique and distinct, while also matching carvings and figures of the deity. It's a good blending of the two styles, and again, I've got nothing bad to say here. Look, I love demons like this. Nyami Nyami is another S rank for me. I really like this one. Anansi is an African spider god who is a renowned trickster, and the fact that we had to wait this long to get this figure in a Megaten game, especially when he would have been so freaking good as a Persona 5 being, oh, it's a shame. But man, the wait may have been worth it. I'm not exaggerating when I say this might be one of the best demons that Doi has ever designed. He's recognizable, he's iconic, he's intimidating, he's got personality. I just think Doi did a really nice job with this one. I admit I have a bad habit in these videos of being like, oh, but are they really an S-rank demon on certain figures? And I give them a safe A, but then later I always just kind of wind up being like, I really should have given them the S rank. And you know what? Don't want to do that here. Anansi is, yeah, third S rank in a row. Don't like it? Fight me in the comments. This is a fantastic demon. And then there's Onyankopon, which is another very strong demon. I mean, this is a great figure, basically African sky god. He's very regal. I like the hat. I'm a big fan of the bird staff. Doi did a solid job on this one, and I remember his personality really standing out and blending well with Anansi during their brief quest line. I think I am just going to give him an A rank though, which seems like a step down, but that's still a really high rank, and this is a really solid demon. Alright, and that is every new demon in Shin Megami Tensei V Vengeance, except for some of the more spoilery ones. Admittedly, I was kind of bummed to learn that besides the spoilery ones, that there weren't any new Doi demons we didn't know about before the game came out. I know I was a little bit harder on the Kadishtu themselves, who are some of the biggest figures in the new story, but even then, there wasn't really anybody I disliked. I remember in the original SMT5 and the spoiler version, I gave out a few more Ds and such, but I think the lowest I went here was a C. Like I said, Doi did a really good job with this game, and if he's going to continue to improve like this moving forward, I'm really eager to see what he's got lined up for future titles. Now what about all of you? Who are your favorite and least favorite demons from Vengeance? Did my opinions differ super heavily from yours? Let me know in the comments below, and feel free to let me know what other categories of Megami Tensei stuff you'd like to see me rank. Thanks for watching, please consider subscribing if you don't want to miss out on any future content, and until the next video, take care everybody.